Hey, it's Benji Cole, son of Al Cole from CBS Radio and host of the syndicated talk show, People of Distinction. A talk that gives you an in-depth view of some of the most dynamic, intelligent, and successful people on the planet. Run to our website, alcoleenterprises.com for more info. Email me through benji@alcoleenterprises.com if you'd like to get involved with what we have going. And as always, please continue to like and follow our broadcasts. People of Distinction is internationally syndicated solely due to the love and support that you all continue to give. We're available across all major distributors, and as long as you keep following, we're going to continue to put out the content. Now sit back and strap in, because on the line with us today, we have the impressive Sandra Aitcheson. Now she's going to be joined by a partner in crime, as to say the least, okay? His name is Patrick Mead. He was instrumental in this book's creation. So he's going to be joining in from time to time and offering his perspective on things, but it's all about Sandra's amazing book, Testimonials of a Loving God, a pamphlet of anecdotes, praise, scriptures, thanksgiving. Okay, it's Amazon, it's Barnes & Noble, it is a lot of other places. Type it into a search bar, be greeted with all of it, and I promise you, this is one you're going to want to add to your shelf. Now, before I go any further, I want to quickly take this opportunity and point out the fact that Sandra was brought to us by Author Reputation Press. So for writers out there listening in, if you've gone through your process and now, well, listen, man, now you find yourself in a precarious position because, man, you've invested your time, your energy, your tears at times creating this masterpiece in front of you, but now you need some assistance moving it. Head on over to authorreputationpress.com and gather all of the ways that their fantastic team is going to help you do just that. And listen, it is an absolute pleasure to have Sandra and Patrick here on the line. People, listen, what if the very struggle that you're praying to get out of is the very thing designed to build your faith? Now listen, it's an interesting question, right? And it really boils down, in my opinion, to perception and how if we shift our focus, sometimes we can find silver linings in some of the darkest clouds, right? Because we've all faced those moments that test our core, where it's easier to complain than to have courage. And our guests today, and Sandra especially, because she, of course, is the author of this amazing book, she's here to help you reframe that entire narrative. In her powerful book, Testimonials of a Loving God, man, she makes a compelling case that without a test, there truly is no testimony. Now, that's more than just a play on words. It is a phenomenal phrase and something that gets to the heart of so much of what she's talking about in the book. Sit back, strap in, get ready for a fantastic education. Trust me when I tell you, you're going to realize that this is a book that needs to be added to your shelf. Here we go. Sandra, Patrick, first and foremost, welcome to People of Distinction, and thank you both for being guests. How are you?
I'm well. Thank you so much, Benji, for having me.
Thank you for having me as well, Benji. Honored to be a part of the program.
Thank you very much. Listen, the honor is all mine. I truly mean that for both of you. Sandra, for writing this magnificent book. Patrick, for playing such a pivotal role in its creation, man. Honestly, this is something that a lot of people are going to benefit from because we've all been there in those moments where we're ready to give up. We're facing adversity, especially right now. Oh, my goodness. And we're struggling on where to turn. And I think your book offers a lot of wisdom, Sandra. So thank you for writing it. Thank you for being here with us to discuss it. I have a lot of questions that I want to go into, but let's start off at the foundation. Tell us more about yourself and your background.
I was born and raised in New York. My parents of Caribbean descent from Jamaica, but we were brought up in a house that the main focus was God. And that's how we were raised. We were raised in the church. And so whatever we did, God was the center of our lives. And throughout my growing up, going to school, going to college, City College of New York, CCNY, I held on to my belief and my faith, and that carried me through a lot of difficult times that I had faced in college, outside of college, in my marriage, outside of my marriage, and everything that I did. But my faith was in God, and that's what centered me around writing this book.
Okay, listen, let's jump right in. I am captivated by the term. Without a test, there is no testimony. Listen, it's just a wonderful turn of phrase, but it also is so powerful. When you really stop and you analyze it, it's incredibly potent. I want to know, was there a specific moment in your life where this truth shifted from being a cliche to a deeply personal revelation for you?
Absolutely. In 2017, I don't know what happened, but I went to the hospital not feeling so well. And subsequently, I was placed in a medically induced coma. I was diagnosed with sepsis, and all of my organs shut down. They had machines keeping all of my organs functioning, and I had no idea what was going on. To the point where 30 days later, they called my family and they said, she's not breathing on her own. Get her pastor over here and have him give her last, and just in case. So they did that, and they pulled the plug. They took the tube out because I was intubated, and they took the tube out. And as I laid there, they said it may have been 30 seconds and nothing. And then all of a sudden I coughed and I started breathing on my own. They wanted to do a tracheotomy, and I'm there shaking my head. No tracheotomy. I wasn't aware of why they wanted to put a hole in my throat, but I'm like, no. And after I came out of that coma, I was unable to move. I could not walk. I couldn't lift my hand. I couldn't even turn in the bed. And it was personal struggle for me. That's when my connection to God really took center stage, because it wasn't me that I was relying on. It was the power of God. And I had to learn, Benji, how to walk and not moving a toe at a time. It took a year before I was able to walk on my own. And that whole time, it was my faith in God that gave me the strength to go from day to day, because the pain was intense. My thoughts were not to give up, but to hold on and to fight. I'm not a quitter. And because I am a child of God, I don't quit, because the strength of God is in me. And I found myself in the rehab going from room to encourage other patients there who were at the brink of giving up on their life because of struggles they were facing. So here I am in a wheelchair before I could actually walk, just going from room to room and encouraging patients not to give up, because the power of God is greater than anything that we face and the challenges that we face. Without a test, there is no testimony. We go through things in our life to challenge our very being. And there have been times we've all faced something, but then that gives us a testimony to encourage and to help others through what they're facing. That's what we're supposed to do: encourage, bless, and help one another with what we have been challenged with. But it is not our own power that we work on. It is the power of God, the Spirit of God that is in us, that gives us that strength to go from day to day. When we hold on to our faith, it is not ours. It is not us. It is God that we rely on.
People, listen. Okay. I'm going to say it again. It's Amazon. It's Barnes & Noble. You know where you got to go. And you got to pick up this book. And trust me when I tell you, the education is real. I knew we were going to be receiving some gems here today. I was not prepared for Sandra to come in here preaching, man. She's taking us back to church. Forget the notebook. Understand, you are at the altar right now. You're in the pews, man. I'm telling you, this is something that's going to help you move some mountains, and I'm here for it. Sandra, okay, listen, your story is magnificent, okay? We could not have selected a more perfect embodiment of a person of distinction. Now, I'm following you here. I'm picking up what you're putting down. Again, I love the notion of without a test, there is no testimony. So you got to go through it to get through it sometimes. Okay, following that logic, how can someone discern if a difficult season is a divine test meant to strengthen them versus a consequence of poor choices or even an attack that needs to be resisted? Does the response differ? What do we look out for? How do we discern that?
Okay, it is a spirit of discernment. When you think about the Spirit, see, the Spirit of God that is in you, it's the breath of God that was breathed into you, God's Spirit. So a spirit of discernment is when you're relying not on your own knowledge, but on the knowledge and the wisdom God has placed in you. When people go through situations and they don't know if it's an attack from the enemy, from the devil, or if it's a God putting you through a test. But whatever it is, know that God is right there with you. If it's from the enemy, God is there to back you up. If it's God putting you through a test, he's not going to leave you alone. He's going to take you through it. You know, everything that we do, God is the center. He's right there with us. Now, I find that the closer you get to God and all that you do with him being your center, it's like a core, like what's inside your being. The closer you get to him, you're going to experience more attacks because there's nothing the enemy hates more than someone who draws closer to God. We are children of the Most High God, and there's no two ways about that. We were placed in this earth. We were all created by God, but it depends from the time you are born until the time you die, what you do in between. Either you follow the wrong way or you follow the right path.
Right.
And there is only one right path, and that is Jesus Christ. So if you keep your heart and your mind focused on God and on Jesus Christ, then the attacks, you'll be able to deal with them and you'll recognize them for what they are. You will know.
Listen, Sandra, another aspect of your book that I find really encouraging and a beautiful aspect of all of this is, listen, you encourage your readers to share their own stories. Well, for someone out there that's listening in, for someone who heads on over, they pick up copies of your book and they resonate with the message, but they feel that their story is maybe too messy, too unfinished, or just not inspirational enough. And can I just say, it's not a competition. But Sandra, once we hear your origin story, I'm like, man, there's a lot of people. I fall short. I don't have a story like that. That's a remarkably inspirational story. What do you say to them that feel that way? How do they continue to then find the courage, the strength, and the motivation to share their story if they feel like they're not necessarily good enough?
Okay, Benji, I believe everyone is unique. There is no two fingerprints alike. There is no two people who are alike. We were all created as individuals, but we were created in the image of God. Each person is just as important as the next. There is no one that is less as important as the next person. We are all important and precious in the sight of God. What we do with our lives, even if you give someone a cup of water, if you say good morning to someone in the street, or if you give $1 to someone on the sidewalk, you think it might be insignificant, but guess what? You're doing the work of God. You're doing what you're supposed to be doing, helping and encouraging other people. You don't have to have a major event in your life to say, I cannot equal up to what that person does. We are all important. We are all unique. And each of us, our own story is just as important as the next one. I look at Paul, who was Saul in the Bible. Now, here's a man who went around persecuting and killing Jews and people who believed in Jesus Christ. He had a passion for destroying and killing people. But then something happened. His life was turned around, and his whole focus shifted and he began to do work that he never thought he would do. The same way with anyone else out there. You may think that what you have done in life, that I've done something so bad that there's no way I could be forgiven or no way I could equal up to or have a testimony to tell, to encourage anyone. Your life can be turned around just by having your faith, increasing your faith, believing in the Son of God, and believing in the Word of God. Nothing is impossible when it comes to the power of God. And the Spirit of God that is inside me is the same Spirit that rose Christ from the dead when he was crucified. So I'm walking around with power and authority in me that everyone who is alive and breathing has. So everyone, if they think they're not important or they don't have a testimony, they definitely do.
People, listen, before we go, all right, Patrick has been back there. He's been like me, man. He's just riding the wave, okay? Because Sandra is she is preaching right now. But I do want to take an opportunity, because he was so instrumental in this book's creation. Let's switch gears here for a second. Patrick, I want to ask you, man, first and foremost, the part that you played in this, because listen, brother, I don't know how, well, according to Sandra, it was pivotal. All right. So I want to thank you for helping her get this book out here, because now we get to benefit from it. So thank you. And I want to hear the part that you played, but also, listen, man, you're a person of distinction yourself. All right. He's got 6 books that Patrick has written also. Okay. You're going to check him out. Patrick Mead. We're going to quickly talk about one of his books, Poemotions, God and Faith. But there are 5 others. Patrick, come on, man. Tell us your involvement with regards to testimonials, and then tell us a little bit more about your book.
Hey, thank you very much once again, Benji. So my role in helping Sandra produce this wonderful pamphlet is she reached out to me because she was well aware of my experience as an author, and she emailed me the scriptures and the testimonials that she had written, and she had asked me if I could assist her with putting together the pamphlet because she was interested in publishing it and selling it, allowing for family or friends, anyone and everyone to read it, read what she had to say, read her testimonies, read the scriptures. So I agreed. And this took a couple of years to put everything together, make sure everything was in the right place, and doing the appropriate spell checking, everything. So that was my role. It was to assist her in putting everything together and producing the product that we have now.
Love it. Okay. Listen, 6 books. It could be dealer's choice, but I want to know a little bit more about Poemotions, God and Faith. Tell us more about your book.
This book, Poemotions, God and Faith, is a couple of years old. It's filled with some poems that I wrote. I've been writing for several years because poetry is my way of expressing myself, dealing with certain struggles that I might have. It is my outlet. So I put together the Poemotions, God and Faith book as a way of me expressing my testimonies about how the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ has been good to me. And an example, I wrote a poem called Be, in which it says, Jesus will be the peace that we need whenever our souls bleed. He will be our comfort in our pain. His truths will always be made plain. He will be our eyes when we are blind, guide us when it's love we need to find. He will be there with open ears to listen to all of our fears. Wrote those words not just for myself and what I go through, but for anyone else that comes to read that poem or anything else that will inspire them and lift them up whenever they have difficult times, because Jesus will always be there and has always been there for each and every one of us.
Patrick, first and foremost, man, thank you very much. People, as we close out, man, there has been so much wonderful pieces of information discussed here today, but I promise you we've barely scratched the surface and there is still so much to be gained. So I'm going to say it one more time. First and foremost, it's Amazon, it's Barnes & Noble. It starts with testimonials of a loving God. but also look into Patrick's books as well, man, starting with Poemotions, God in Faith, the 5 others that he has. And what I've recognized between both of the discussions that we had and in both of their books, it carries an underlying theme of hope and really leaning on our faith, building a stronger connection with God. And listen, we need that right now. I think we need it all the time. But right now, we as a country, as a world, are more divided than ever before, man. And the only thing that I listen, like, I'm a new parent. Guys, I don't know. I've mentioned this a number of times on previous things. I'm like a proud dad now. I talk about my kids all the time. My goodness. But I recognize the biggest thing for me since my wife and I having children is like relying heavily on the village that we have around us for that additional support. And my goodness, having a toddler right now, it's never been more important to have that village. Yes, please take her for a few hours. Yes. But listen, the village doesn't just amount to the family and friends that you have. Also, what should be a crucial component in that village is God and the relationship that you had. And a beautiful thing that when Sandra brought up Saul before, and we're talking about the Apostle Paul and from the Bible, it reminded me that, listen, if this man who held the coats of those stoning, if he wasn't beyond the redemptive power of a test becoming a testimony, listen, people, you are never too far gone. Let that hope stay with us. And I get it. When we're traveling along our journey, there's pitfalls, man. We're traveling and we're going to get a lot of flat tires. It's about to happen. Like, adversity is just in the name of the game. But recognize that those moments of adversity, they aren't signs of abandonment. It's the very process of being remade. And I think if we shift perception sometimes, if we focus on that, understand that, my goodness, we will be stronger than ever. Because I also believe another cliche is God doesn't place anything on your path that you aren't strong enough to overcome. It starts with these books, man, but I promise you the journey is just beginning. Head on over there, pick up your copies today, and let's get to work. Sandra, Patrick, this has been a phenomenal discussion and an absolute pleasure. Thank you both once again for being guests on People of Distinction.
Benji, you're an awesome host, okay? You know, you have such a soothing, calming voice. It was my pleasure, and I encourage you to stay blessed and stay encouraged. Amen.